Alright, I'm actually gonna make sure that this thing records this time. Ooh. This is like the upteenth time I've tried recording a video about this story. What's up, guys? It's just me today. Renee is working, and understandably, we can't be together all the time. We will be together again soon, probably next week. We're thinking about doing a challenge. So I know I look extremely tired, and I know that I am not looking 100% right now, except for this brand new shirt I just got. But I've tried to record this video like 20 times, so I'm gonna try to make this quick. This is the time that I traveled with a pervert. 2 years ago, I was in Western Australia on a gap year, and I was on a backpacking trip, which I had been forced to do, but that's a different story. And it was a 4-day backpacking trip with 10 or 11 other people, and we were all stuffed in this van with all of our bags, and we headed up the coast of Western Australia. Lots of things happened, made a few friends, got them still on Facebook, lots of really great pictures. On the very first day, you get into the van, and I was sitting on this like little mountain in the very back where all the seat belts were, and it was the most uncomfortable seat I had ever been on, ever had to sit in anything, but I had to. That was basically the only seat besides the front seat, and I really regret not taking that front seat. The friend that I had made during that trip was the person who actually got to sit in the front. We're just gonna call her Allie. Everyone on this trip was from a different part of the world. There was only one person that was from Australia, and she was from, I think, Sydney. Everyone else was either from England or Spain or France or the United States or Norway. We were from all over. There was a couple that was French, who we will be getting to, that did not speak any English at all, and it was pretty difficult for all of us to try to communicate with them. Because of that language barrier, we didn't really communicate with them, so it was definitely difficult. On that first day, we went up to the pinnacles, and majority of the group was getting to know each other, starting to talk a lot, and we had all come to the agreement that the French couple was just weird. We weren't saying it out loud like, oh my god, they're so weird, blah blah blah. You got that weird vibe. And then we went to this farm to stay the night, and there was another traveling group there. Allie and I stayed in the same room because we decided to just stick together. We also stayed with a couple sisters that was also in our group, and unfortunately we had to stay with the French couple. We'll just name him Paul. He was the most strange man I had ever met, and he was very obviously drunk a lot of the time. Point being is that night, him and his wife came in way after Allie and I and the sisters had gone to sleep because our driver had said that we had to get up early the next morning to make it up to Monkey Maya. The next morning we went up to Monkey Maya. We had done some abseiling or rock climbing sort of stuff during the day before we got up to Monkey Maya, and that stuff was really cool. It was like this huge big wall. By this time, everyone was pretty comfortable with each other. Paul, the French guy, had been trying to communicate pretty well, but he was very giggly. Seemed like he was friendly, but just gave me a pretty strange vibe. We got up to Monkey Maya, it was nighttime, we made dinner as a group, and then I think Allie and I and the driver and a few others hung out near the beach until it got cold, and then we went to bed. The next morning is when we got to meet dolphins, and we got to have them swim around us. And the French couple wasn't really around us at that time. I don't really know what happened to them. We did end up giving them the single room that our traveling group had been given by the hostel, because I think no one wanted to room with them. we didn't really see them until it was time to get going. I'm on to day 3 and we started coming back from Monkey Mile. We were probably there until about noon, and that's when we started heading back to the same area that we stayed at. We stayed in a different spot this time. It was much quieter. So now I'm on to day 4. Yes, I have gone through this very quickly. This is where things really get interesting, okay? Day 4 is where it's actually a big deal. Day 4, we get up, we get going, and we go to this kangaroo farm, I guess you could say. And it's not a farm where they reproduce kangaroos. It's a farm. It's a rehabilitation center for kangaroos that have had their mothers hit by cars, or they've been hit by cars, or anything like that. And it's not just kangaroos, it's a bunch of other animals as well. But their focus is kangaroos. And because their focus is kangaroos, we got to hold baby kangaroos. There was like this little cave sort of thing. It looked like a cave, it wasn't really. And in order to hold a kangaroo, you had to be sitting down. And the French couple, still not able to speak English, had the nerve to be in everyone's picture because they didn't understand that they had to sit down. The girl that was sitting next to me on the van, we'll name her Sam. Sam ended up being from France, but she had kept it quiet for the first 2 days because she didn't really want to be the translator for them. Eventually she was, and during this time is when she told them that they had to sit down at the end of the line. You'll get to hold on to the kangaroo, I promise, but you don't get to do it first because you weren't listening. They couldn't really listen because they can't speak English, but tit for tat. In this rehabilitation center, there were snakes as well, and I'm not a big fan of snakes. I'm willing to look at them, I'm willing to do research on them. I am not a fan of touching or holding snakes. No. However, Paul, the French dude, was having the time of his life with these snakes. We didn't get to hold any of them or anything, but he was so excited that he started using his arm as a snake. There were only 2 men besides the driver in our whole group, and the rest of us were girls. And because Paul thought that the sisters liked him or got along with him for whatever reason, he really focused his snake arm on them. At this time, we were getting back into the van. We were heading to the sand dunes to do some snowboarding, sledding in sand, and Paul, oh my god, Paul was still pretending that his arm was a snake, and his wife at this point was totally over it. She was like, I am done with your shit, Paul. I don't care. We'll name her Natalie. She seemed okay. She just seemed like she didn't care at all. She's telling Paul to stop, but he's not. He's just doing his weird snake thing. And what he does is totally unacceptable. Still doing his little hiss thing. And he puts his hand on one of the sister's legs and pretends it's a snake. No, that, He did it to one sister, and then he did it to the other one, who was sitting right next to me. And I was starting to freak out. I'm like, oh my god, I'm next. And these 2 girls are just laughing, and then they look at each other, and then they look at me, and they're like, I don't know what to do. Paul then turns to me, he's laughing his freaking ass off, and he's like, and he goes for my knee, and I put my finger in his face and I say, don't you dare touch me. And I just hold this position and I wait. And the whole time, this dude is laughing. He's just cracking up. He thinks this is the best thing on the planet. This is the best joke he could ever come up with. He's gonna be a comedian someday. He retreats. He doesn't touch my leg. But when I put my finger in his face and I said, don't you dare touch me, the whole van went silent. Everyone knew that I was not taking his, including his wife. His wife hit him upside the head, but he continued it anyways, which What? I turned to Sam and I'm like, this guy's a pervert. What is he doing on this trip? We were heading back to Perth. The driver asked the couple where they were staying, and the couple eventually was able to get out which hotel they were staying at, and the driver drove past the spot where every single other person was being dropped off. Drove past that spot to drop off the French couple first. Once the French couple was gone, we all asked the driver what was up, like, is there a reason that you made us late for our own dinners? And the driver was like, he, being the French man, made me extremely uncomfortable, as well as made the other traveling group uncomfortable. He made not only our group uncomfortable, but a whole separate group uncomfortable. He apparently on that very first night had gotten drunk, took a rope, and jokingly put it around someone's neck. At that point, if I had been the driver, I would have driven them back to Perth and said, I'm sorry, I can't take you. You can't come with us. You make everyone uncomfortable. But honestly, it was probably the worst traveling experience I had ever had. What I'm saying is that no one should have to deal with some person, whether they can speak your language or not, touching your leg inappropriately. Like, it's not funny to be a snake. No bueno. No bueno. No bueno. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give us a thumbs up if you think we should give more story times, or if you'd like to hear a different story, or if you want Renee to tell a story, that would be interesting. And please subscribe to Wannabe Comedy. I hope you guys enjoyed this video.